How to build a bridge on a 100-meter cliff. Countless people had tried before, but all had failed. These two men, however, were determined not to stay here forever. They wanted to see the world beyond this place. They had discussed and tried for a long time, but nothing seemed to work. One day, John looked up at the birds flying in the sky and fell into deep thought. He slowly walked to the wooden plank at the edge of the cliff. To his surprise, he found that the plank could support his weight. A solution began to form in his mind. He and his companion gathered up some old wooden planks, tied them together securely with ropes, and connected them. At the end of the planks, they fastened a heavy stone to anchor the bridge. In no time, they had built a small bridge. They cautiously stepped onto it, and sure enough, it held their weight. Although they were still far from their goal, hope had finally emerged. However, the villagers were not optimistic about their efforts, except for one little girl. She saw hope in them. The two men, feeling encouraged by her belief, worked tirelessly every day to build the bridge. They used a dead tree as a support, and with great effort, they managed to straighten the bridge. Finally, they pushed a large stone off the cliff to secure the bridge in place. The bridge was complete, and the two men were elated. They quickly set off a signal flare to inform the villagers of their success. As fireworks exploded in the sky, the nearby villagers felt a sense of hope. Just as they were about to leave the cliff, disaster struck. A strong wind suddenly swept across the sky. The men tied a canvas to the broken bridge, hoping the wind would lift it up. Together, they stared at the distant sky, bracing themselves for fate's judgment. That night, a violent storm approached. The villagers on the cliffside took shelter, but one girl refused to go inside. She anxiously looked in the direction of the two men. At that moment, the two men put their plan into action. John cut the rope, and the canvas on the broken bridge fluttered, lifting the bridge 10 meters higher. They were finally able to leave the abyss. They ran toward the other side, but a lightning strike ignited the broken bridge in an instant. The dead tree on the cliff began to shake, and the ropes anchoring the bridge started to break free. The bridge began to collapse. The girl, unable to stay still, climbed over the railing and rushed to help. Though she was small, she pushed with all her might, and to her surprise, the dead tree began to move. It turned out the villagers, braving the storm, had come to assist. Together, they managed to stabilize the bridge again. Just as the two men were about to cross the cliff, another lightning bolt struck, blocking John's way. Meanwhile, Jack had already crossed the broken bridge. He reached out to grab John's hand, but John slipped and almost fell. He stood up and tried once again to grab Jack's hand, but failed. He realized that he would never make it across. So, he made a decision. He took out his flare gun and fired the second flare. The moment the flare shot into the sky, the bridge began to fall from the cliff. The villagers, seeing the bridge collapse, were filled with despair. But then, to their amazement, fireworks lit up the sky. It was a sign of the climbers' victory. The villagers cheered, thinking that the two men had performed a miracle, unaware that the fireworks were the last gift John gave, his life shining brightly like a flare.